guys, so today's video is going to be a book review on Allegiant. Yes, Allegiant. I haven't done a book review since last summer, probably because I haven't had time to actually read a book since last summer, but yeah, I got this in October. I waited until my finals were over and I read this in one day, cover to cover in one day over Christmas break. So I can finally give you guys a review on this book, but like all of the rest of my book reviews, I'm going to tell you, they're spoiler alert, I will talk about the book. If you haven't read Divergent or Insurgent, you probably shouldn't watch this review. I don't have reviews on those two books because I read them before my vlog channel even was up. So you can always like, you know, search on YouTube for reviews of those books, or if you've read them. But if you've read Allegiant, or if you and you want to know my thoughts on it, or if you've read Divergent and Insurgent and want to know kind of spoilers or like what I think of Allegiant, then just keep on watching. Allegiant picks off literally exactly where Divergent and Insurgent leave off, or where Insurgent leaves off. Divergent and Insurgent they were great with cliffhanger endings. So the first maybe 40 pages, I was confused. I was like, crap, like what happened? I'm trying to remember. But if you like marathoned them, or if you've gone through each book, then you'll have no problem. You'll know exactly what's going on. But if you're like me and like read them a year ago, waiting for this book to come out, you might be a little confused. Make sure you have the other books on hand to like refer back to. She did do a pretty good job of explaining some things, but not others. Okay. So where it kind of leaves off is that they revealed this secret that they are kind of like, they're put into Chicago, it's modern day Chicago, and they're walled off, and like when the Divergent population gets large enough that they're supposed to go outside the city. So they reveal like that people are put into the city and the factions were made up and all that different kind of stuff. Chicago kind of becomes a little bit segregated. There becomes like the factionless that's run by Tobias's mom, and so she's kind of like the leader of the factionless. And then there is the Allegiant, which are kind of like, they align themselves with the old motto. So they like align themselves, they want to either do two things. They either want to like put the factions back into existence, they want things to go back to the way that they were, or they want to like follow through with the message that was on the video that says, when the Divergent population gets big enough, go outside the city, or leave the city walls and like go outside and like assist in something. When it starts off, Tobias and Tris are with the factionless. Tobias is like in charge, but he's like pretending to be in charge, and Tris is like prisoner. Skipping a lot of details and stuff like that, they break out and they join the Allegiant, and they go and talk to the Allegiant, and they decide that like they are going to go outside the city. They want to see what is on the other side of the wall. They don't want the factions to go back into existence. They want to figure out what's outside the city. So they go outside the city with a group of other people, some other main characters that are in all three books, and they get outside the city and they realize that, first spoiler, that what they've known all along was pretty much just an experiment, that they've been being watched by like the American public for forever, and like it's, you know, past something called the Purity War, where like they thought that it was like this like genetic anomaly. There was like pure genes and not pure genes. I don't remember what they called it in the book, but like, and they blamed all of the world's problems on like this mutated gene. Chicago, where they're all from, was kind of like a running experiment that was done by the American government, or what's left of the American government after this big war, to like try to weed out those people, try to like get the people who have pure genes. It's like let them breed themselves out, I guess. Like, so go from generation to generation and get this mutation out of their system. And that is who the Divergent are. Divergent just basically means you don't have this mutation anymore. And the mutation was like, you know, those who were selfish, they got that gene taken out and they became selfless, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. And that was a way to like solve the world's problems, but it ended up becoming like a big problem in itself. And so the Divergent are just pure people with pure DNA. And then while they're in this compound, which is actually O'Hare Airport, which is kind of funny, like they kind of align themselves in different groups. Like Tobias, has unpure genes, and he kind of aligns himself with other unpure people because there's still unpure people in the world who they kind of become second-class citizens. That is my first complaint about this book. I have a couple complaints about this book, but it seemed to get very preachy, if that makes any sense. Like, it definitely would like seem like a very strong political statement about minorities, because they were saying anyone who doesn't have pure genes is a second-class citizen and they're the janitors of the world and that kind of stuff. And like, I'm not like trying to like dismiss those types of problems, but like I'm not, because I do think that they exist and I do think that they're real problems, but I didn't want this book to get that preachy, and it did. It got very preachy about like, it very much was about society and about like the problems of society, and that really kind of bothered me. I didn't want it to become like this big political statement, which at times I really thought that it was. Okay, so Tobias aligned himself with the unpure people. Triss kind of aligned herself with the pure people, but then in the end, like, Tobias was wrong and Triss was right, and like, they come up with this master plan to bring down everything, to stop like this pure unpure thing. And spoiler alert, okay, so I mean, a lot of things happen. Triss and Tobias fight a lot, and there's a lot of like little details that go on, but in the end, they decide that they are going to take the memory serum, or like the memory, I think it's called like the memory serum or something like that. It's basically a thing that like will erase everyone's memory, that was used on the people inside the experiment. So they decided to take that and erase the memory of the people in charge, like erase the memory of the people in the government, because they are going to erase the memory of everybody inside Chicago because things were getting a little bit too out of control. So Triss decides that she's going to be the hero and she's going to be the one to like risk her life yet again and erase the memory of the people, the government officials. And spoiler alert, so like, she decides to do that, and then the other half of the people decide, like Tobias included, decide to go back into Chicago and like save the people that they love and give them an antidote, and also try to defuse the situation. They're about to erupt into like a major civil war inside Chicago between the factionless and the Allegiant, and they tried to go in and defuse the situation with a memory serum of their own and also antidotes of the memory serum. And long story short, it is a very long story, because it's like 500 pages. I want to say, I can't even remember. Yeah, it's like 520 some odd pages. Triss ends up succeeding and erasing the memory of the government officials, but not before she's shot and killed. So like, she succeeds, she like disperses the memory serum, but in the process she is shot and killed. And that pissed me off so bad that they killed her, because why they couldn't have let her live is beyond me. Like, I really was mad that they killed her, because there was no point in like her becoming a martyr, because she would have succeeded anyways if they had just like patched her up, you know what I mean? Like, she was shot and she released the memory serum, and so then like her person that was shooting her like wasn't gonna shoot her anymore because he forgot what he was doing. And all they had to do was say that she survived the shooting. But then the last 30 pages of the book was people mourning her. It was people like, it was Tobias like being all sad and cranky. And I'm like, there was no reason for that. Like, I mean, some people might say that there was a reason for that. I was actually talking to my guy in my family, and he was saying that he totally agreed with the ending. She did need to die, and I was like, there was no reason whatsoever why she needed to die. None whatsoever. It could have been a happy ending where she lived. I don't understand why they had to kill her, but they did, and it pissed me off. So, final opinion of this book. I liked it, but I really didn't like how preachy it was, and I didn't like the ending. I really liked the first book the best. So it kind of went like Divergent and then Insurgent and then this one. But this, I wasn't that big of a fan of this book, and it kind of made me a little bit mad. So those are my final thoughts. I hope you guys liked this video. As always, please comment, thumbs up the video if you liked it, and please subscribe. And I will have one, maybe two other book reviews coming in the very near future. So yeah, stay tuned for those. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Alright.